catch up. Alright, my loves. There's someone that's supposed to be coming in. So we'll see if she comes or not during this class period. So if we have an interruption, I apologize, but I'm going to try to not finish today. Today is day 1 or 2, I guess, of your project in preparing for that. If you do not celebrate, or if you're not into the Glamour Skull thing by choice or religion or whatever, it's okay. Okay, you're not gonna draw what I draw today. You can draw other things, and then you're not gonna do this theme. Your theme is floral. Okay, so but today I'm going to teach you how to do a basic Glamour Skull. We're only doing half a face. There are different videos and tutorials out there where you can start with a blank face or a white face and work your way down to the final finished product. The next step is to do a little bit more research from the research page to see what you want your design to be. Draw it on the watercolor makeup face chart and then color it in, okay? Then practice it and then put it on your mannequin head. Today we are going to be doing something of the sort. That's what your page will look like when we are all done. So if you, like I said, are not into the Glamour Skull situation, that's okay. I totally understand. No worries. Your theme will be a flower theme. Okay? So let me see. It's on my desk, yeah. Okay, so we're going to be on this page today. It's in the back of your packet. You should have a purple table cover. You have your cup with water. You have black. You can have a dual or a multi-split cake napkin always. And I'm going to do the small, not the tiny, but the small round sponge. I'm using this palette so I don't take away from your makeup color, since I know we don't have too many. But I'm going to use red, green, black, and yellow-ish, orangish. And then you have your brushes. For sure today we're going to be using the pointed and the rounded brush, for sure. My brushes are big so you can see on the screen, but they're kind of almost too big for what I need. But we'll work with it, okay? Questions? First thing that we're going to do is, first of all, we're only going to do half a face, okay? So when you are done with your design, you should have half a face of a design, okay? So we are going to start with the eye. So take your sponge. You're going to dip your sponge into your water and tap it on the inside corner of your cup. I'm going to start with yellow. I like yellow because it's a lighter color. You can see what I'm doing, and when I show you the mistakes, it can very easily show you how it is that you've gotten to those mistakes and how to avoid them and how to fix them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it wrong so I can show you what happened, how did it go wrong, why did it go wrong, what you can do to avoid it, and how you can identify, ooh, that's not right. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to take my sponge. It's in the shape of a round circle, which is what I want. And I'm going to start at the eye area. When you're doing a Glamour Skull, if you color the whole face white, that's the first thing you do. And if you keep the normal skin tone, then you start with the eyes. Okay, we're going to pretend we've already painted the face white. Hence the white paper. So here we're going to go, the client's going to close their eyes, and we're going to go right in the middle of the eye. And corner of the inside of the eye, we're going to go underneath the eye a little bit to the outer corner. And we're going to go to the eyebrow. We're going to cover the eyebrow. So essentially, we are creating a circle. Okay? We are then going to, now some people, they don't do the underneath of the eye, but I just feel like space-wise it makes more sense. Some people go underneath the brow. It just kind of depends. Are you trying to make it like a cute, girly, fancy, cutesy design, or are you trying to go more like the actual sugar skull? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a circle right in the middle of the forehead, and my last circle is my flower is a little bit small, so I'm going to just widen my circle by doing a little bit of circular rotation. That's going to be my flower. I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but I'm done with my sponge. I'm going to come by and I'm going to take my rounded brush, and what I'm going to do, besides getting getting my brush wet and prepping it with some yellow, I am going to make my petals. Adding a little bit of a red tone to change it, and adding a little bit of orange just so that I'm within the same family, like a yellow orange, but not too far out. You use whatever color you want. You can use blue, you can use red, purple, pink, green, brown, whichever. Okay? I'm going to stamp to make my daisy flower petals. Now, do you see the clock up there? The little clock is 12 o'clock is on the top, 3 o'clock is at the corner on the side, and then 6 o'clock on the bottom. That's clockwise, right? So I'm going to stamp going clockwise. I'm going to start at 12 o'clock. I'm going to do a lot of things wrong so I can teach you all the things. But I want you to take the heel of the brush where the fibers and the metal part connect. Keep that on the outer perimeter ridge of your circle. And you're going to start at 12 and you're going to work your way around, and you're going to rotate your hand to go all the way around. You're going to stamp like this. Stamp it to go all the way around. Okay? Now, I'm going to do some wrongs, so don't copy me, but sort of do what I'm doing. I'm going to try to start right so you can at least see. All right, I'm going to come down, stamp, stamp, stamp. Okay, so where I'm going to start getting some wrongs so that I can show you and teach you. Can you open it? Hello, how are you?
Hi, Miss Flores.
Hi. Were you going to talk to the students, or were you?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, guys, if you will just put your brush down for a quick second, and we'll pause here. So if you'll take your brush and you go ahead and re-wet the brush to reload. I do apologize for that interruption, but thank you for being respectful. Reload that brush with the product that you had, and then continue. Again, I am doing some wrong so that I can show you. And then I'm going to do some right. You're using your rounded brush. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go over with you the wrongs. Okay? And I forgot to leave, I messed up. I forgot to leave an extra, like a really big space. So I do apologize. So just let's pretend there's a really big space somewhere. So, wrongs. When you're doing your flower around your eye, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring this in some. When you're doing your flower around the eye, the petals around the eye, you always want to make sure that you're pivoting, right, from the center of the circle all the way around. If you start at 12 o'clock and that petal is straight, then when you're coming around and you're just moving your hand around, the petals will kind of fall into place. Now, when there is too much white in between, and I was supposed to leave this last one empty and I didn't, but when there's too much white in between your petals, if it's intentionally on purpose, then that's okay. But it has to be even all the way across. Like these three are bunched up together. These are evenly spaced across, apart, but then these are not, and then these are a little bit, but these are not so much, and you've got to be consistent with your spacing. I'm going to show you how you can fix that in a minute, okay? Another thing that's wrong. I started really nice and full and saturated at the 12 o'clock, and then when I went all the way around, then I started running out of paint on my brush, just like when we did our line work. So you have got to make sure that you load your brush really good so you can go around the whole eye, and that petal is going to be as fresh and as full on 11 o'clock as it was when you started at 12 o'clock. Okay? the length or the width of the petal. So my first petal, I was really excited and I pushed down really hard, and the wingspan of my brush really opened up. Well, then here I maybe wasn't so strong and I didn't push so much pressure down, so my petals are a little bit more thinner. The consistency and pressure that you push down when you're stamping has to be consistent. It's got to be even, or else your petals are off, okay? The next thing is the length of your petals. So the length of the petals should be the length of the brush. So if you have someone that's smaller, like a smaller face of a smaller person, you use smaller brushes. Bigger face, bigger person, bigger brushes. So that way your petals are consistent. To fix, here's another problem. Here I started off, the heel of my brush expanded over the perimeter of my circle, and here it didn't even touch. So there's white spaces here. There's no consistency and there's not even. So those are the things you need to look out for and watch out for when you're pushing down your petals. And when you see it, you're like, ooh, it's wrong because the pressure was too high. It's the wrong size brush. The spacing was too wide apart or too close together. So in fixing, you want to take your brush and carefully go over and push down the right amount so that you can have a corrected petal. Now the bad thing about that is that you really have to be consistent whenever you're doing your petals. And you have to go extra careful so that you don't make a petal bigger or double it. Instead of fixing it, you kind of mess it up a little bit more, okay? That's important. Now, here's another tip. If you're going to put rhinestones and diamonds around in between the circle and the petals, then this part doesn't matter because you're not going to be able to see it, you know. You can make your circle bigger, wider, and then it really doesn't matter because you can't see any white underneath. So there are ways to avoid having this issue. It just kind of depends on what you're wanting to go for. Now, if you do come in and try, you have a lot of spacing, here's how you can fix it. So you can do a second row of petals, but it just really kind of depends on, if you have a smaller brush and it's going to work out. So here we have petals that are separated. So if I take my brush and I go in the in-between, like this, then I just created the in-between petals. And it looks like I'm supposed to have these petals in between, right? And then I can come back in and go in between that and really have a really nice design of my petals. Now, a big brush will make it just muddy, and if you have smaller brushes in that second inner row, it looks better. So again, depending on what look you're going for and what your design is going to be looking like, you can or cannot do that step. Okay. So we are done with that for now. I'm going to take my liner brush and I'm going to do the nose. I'm going to take my liner brush. Nope. I'm not going to do the nose. I'm going to do the flower. I'm sorry. That way you don't get black in it. I'm going to use my liner brush and I'm going to pick up red or whatever color you want your flower to be. Pink, purple, blue, yellow, green, brown, whichever. I'm going to teach you how to make a flower at the most basic level. So a flower, okay, a rose, done like this. If you can draw a letter C, you can draw a rose. You're going to draw a letter C with my pointed brush loaded. I'm going to draw a letter C. And then I'm going to draw a backwards letter C inside of that one, like this. And then I'm going to draw another C, like here. And then another C, kind of here. And another C kind of maybe here. At the most basic point, basic shape. Sure, okay, kind of sort of looks like a flower. Okay, I'll take it. okay? Now we're going to do this again, but this time we're going to wiggle our C's, okay? We're going to wiggle the C's. You ready? Okay, we're going to do it again. So I'm going to do a wiggly C. Yes, still the liner brush. Good question. Still the liner brush. A wiggly C. And then another wiggly C. And then a wiggly C. Another wiggly C. Another wiggly C. A wiggly C. I mean, you can keep going, adding petals as big and as wide as you want. Does the C go to the right, to the left, upside down, right side up? It doesn't matter. As long as it's eating it into the opposite C, facing the opposite direction, you're good. At the most basic form. Now this can transition into a carnation. So if you're like, I don't know, I still can't, okay, let's try this. We're going to make a smiley line, letter C. Right on top of that, you're going to mirror it and make a smiley line, letter C. Then you're going to eat, a C is going to eat these. So you're going to do a smiley line, or parentheses, and a parentheses the other way. And if you do it again, then it's a parentheses, a smiley line, a frowny face line, whatever. At the most basic level that you're like, I'm just trying to get through it. That's your basic foundation. Now we're going to jazz it up a little bit. We're going to go over the same lines and we're going to wiggle, squiggle, and make one longer and one shorter. And we're going to curve one end and we're going to keep the other end straight. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to curve one of my C's and wiggle. And then my other one, I'm going to wiggle and extend it and kind of curve it out. I'm going to lengthen my C's and I'm going to wiggle. And wiggle. And although no, it's not identical or it's close to the first one you did, but it's similar. Yeah, it can pass for a flower. Why not? Okay, so again, it's not that you don't know how, it's not that you can't draw, it's that you don't know how to put the shapes together, how to put the lines together. It's just fairly easy, right? Practice makes perfect. Okay, so now I have my little yellow dot here in the middle forehead. I'm going to create this design over my yellow dot. So here we go, we're going to do a little wiggly in the middle and this letter shape of a C. Wiggly on the outer end. Wiggly, wiggly, wiggly. Don't try to make it perfect. We've talked about that. The more perfect you try to make it, the worse it comes out. And then you don't have to necessarily outline the circle. You can go outside of the circle, is fine as well. This yellow circle is just, or the whatever circle you have is just kind of like a shading. The flower can be as little or as big as you like. With this flower, the next thing that you have is going to be your petal. Your petal can be green, it can be any color, but a petal is going to be just off to the side. Very basic, very simple, and definitely not too crazy big, not too crazy small. I had red on my brush and I picked up green and it made brown. So mine looks a little muddy, but it's okay. Let me show you something. When you go and you make a leaf, You can put a line in the middle. You can color it in. You can shade it in. If your leaf ends up in a flat, like a flat wing, you want to take the very tip of your brush and just give it a wing. Make it pointy. A pointy leaf looks so much better than a flat wing at the tip end. Your petal, not your petal, I'm sorry, your leaf should look like a sideways Hershey kiss. You can wiggle the lines if you're like the S-shaped line, the lines if you're trying to create a thicker or a one with a shape, a particular shape. Load your pointer brush with the black. I'm going to go really fast because we're running out of time. I'm going to do the nose. I'm going to do a line down the middle and a triangle. We're only doing half of the nose. Line down the middle and a triangle to the side with a little stick there to the side. Two little points on the tip of the nose. The teeth is a smile line with vertical tick marks. The spacing needs to be even from large to small. The last thing that you're going to have is going to be your spider web. Okay? So your spider web is going to be on the forehead. Okay? The spider web, if you draw a line down the middle, make it a V. My brush is too wet and my spider web came out really thick. So it's going to look really bad, and you're going to go split the V down the middle. You're going to do and connect a smile line at the top, like so. A second smile line. And a third smile line. With your my brush is too thick for the space that I have, but for your spider webs you want a really thin brush. You want your spacing to be even. You want your lines to be even. I'm going to thicken my middle just to kind of make it look a little bit more even. Okay. And that is your spider web. Some people will put the spider web underneath the flower, and that's okay too. And you can do it in color. I'm going to use my same black color. I'm going to do a little petal down here on the chin. Bless you. For a little extra oomph to my design. And you're just tapping your brush down. At the most basic form, basic level, this is how you do a very basic sugar skull or glamour skull at its most basic form. Tomorrow you're going to be doing the unicorn snot. You're going to learn how to make it. Don't wear any clothing that is like sweater material because the glitter will stick to it, and glitter will be everywhere tomorrow. So just FYI. That's all I have for you for today. Put your artist signature on that. Take your pictures and go ahead and get ready to go. If you're going to go, if you're going to stay for Salon Day Trial today, you can go ahead and wrap up.